Hi guys, so I am back to show you my latest creation, and this time it is a sewing themed journal, and I'm using Seneca Crafts latest journal kit, and it is called the Retro Chic Sewing Journal Kit. Beautiful collection, and this is what I made with it. This one is a beautiful, chunky, luscious journal. I've used it's hardback, front cover, back cover, and spine. I've used a upholstery fabric to cover the outside and the inside of the journal, and it's got really nice texture. It's almost like I don't know, these little threads, they look like threads, they're raised. I can't explain it, but it's gorgeous. 4 metal corners, and then for the spine I've done this with some beautiful lace, and in the middle I have attached some flowers. I have a tassel that you can remove, and from the tassel I have these metal charms. It has yarn charm and a little sewing machine, a little pair of shears, buttons, tape, measuring tape, and a little pin, and that's it. So if you don't want this, you can easily remove the tassel, because the spine is just beautiful the way it is. But I decided that, you know, for extra, I just wanted the tassel, and it's got little pearls and lace and ribbons. I just love the tassel. So for the front cover, it's closed with seam binding, and dangling from the laces I have bow pins, and again you have charms with little sewing machine, measuring tape, pin, buttons. These are metal charms, yarn, pair of shears. Let's see what else. Yeah, that's it, just angling there. For the front cover I used some pearls here. Let me see if I could. Some pearls there, and some trim that's like ruffled, and then I used some lace to create some pockets, and I've used one of her collage sheets, and I've just cut them apart just to make little tags that you can journal on. A little sewing machine there, and this just gets tucked right in there in the little pocket. It says handcrafted, and this has some trim here and lace inside, and then I've created this tag that has that trim there, and you can journal in the back. Beautiful. This is one of her sheets, her page sheets that I just cut in half and backed it onto a file folder. I distressed everything and stitched all around, and that just goes in there. This is like a little shirt, and just put one of my little butterflies with a button. And here I have some buttons and trims. I can't remember now who, because I have received a couple of happy mails but it's either I think I have a mixture of Happy Meals I received from a couple of my friends, which is Aaliyah. Thank you, Aaliyah, Alicia, and Jeannie. So thank you so much, girls. I just can't remember who sent me what, but I know that I have them here, some of the buttons. So thank you. I mean, not Jeannie, Gina. So thank you so much. So that's that. Let's get into it. Oh, before I move forward, I've made one of these, and this is chipboard. And the reason I made this is you can use this as a writing board if you want to. I stitched around the paper and put some trim, and this is in case you come to a spot that is a little bulky, you can just put this underneath your sheet and you can write. So this you can keep inside your book, makes it smoother to write on. So I'll be including that. And also I have these vintage pattern that came out of a 1984 and 1985 magazine. I wanted to include them in the book, but I don't want to cut these, and they were too big. So these are to make some little duckies. They're like, oh, you can see. So I'm gonna send that in the goodie bag. So these are patterned to make like little different things. So I'll be sending those along, 1984 and 1985. All right, let's get inside. My computer's gonna start now. I knew it. Okay, let's see here. Here we go. So it's chunky. The spine on this bad boy is 3 inches, but although it's chunky, it's good to write on still. So here we have, oh, let me see if I could zoom you in. Sorry. That's too close. There we go. There we go. So here I have one of her little fold outs, and I've just glossy accented and added a little bit of German glitter glass to enhance the little image here, and magnetized it. And this is some of my eco dyed paper, so you have some extra journaling here. I love doing this with these fold outs. And then I just backed it with line paper, and this is magnetized, and I left it open so that I could put some of her tags here. Look at those tags, they're gorgeous, those images. Backed it onto coffee dyed paper, and this is one of her tags, and I just have a pair of scissors hanging from a bow pin and some sari silk. And then my note from the bookmaker. Look at that one. This is one of her collage sheets. Have some lace here, and another, that's one of the bow pins. Here is one of her cut aparts, and it says, "She who leaves a trail of stitches is never forgotten." And then I have here, this came out of a book, a vintage book, and it says Amethyst Violet, and this is the month of February, and it looks like a cross stitch. And I backed that onto cardstock and distressed. All of this is distressed with this one, the TPC Studio Clearly copper. That's what I use to distress. So, and then this is a vintage 1984 World Trivia. These are fun. So that goes in that pocket. And this is another one of her cards. Back onto coffee, and I just put some lace stitched around. These are one of her cut aparts. These are like circles, and I just did a collage here with some vintage rickrack and some lace, cheesecloth, eyelash trim. And this is a flip up. I did a lot of stitching on this one. And then here is a tuck with another one of those tags. Back onto that, and then I put some trim here with a button. And then I use, you know, those, oh, hold on, let me just turn this off because it's gonna start acting up. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know why this computer always does that. There we go. So this is one of her little envelopes, and you get quite a few envelopes in her kit. I love this kit. It's a big one too. I left these little guys empty so you can add your own little things, but it's so cute, and I just added some trim there. And this is one of the rickrack, you know how they come packaged, and I just thought this was cute for a little journaling spot there. And then this opens and it's an envelope. It's empty, but you can add something in there. It's coffee stained. And then this is a little pocket. This is a pocket that I use. I don't know if you remember my estate sale haul. No, my flea market haul. And I got some of these. These are so great for pockets because they're stiff, but they're like a lace type of thing. I'm going to be putting this in my shop too. And I just stitched it onto the page. This is a vintage snap fastener. I'm including that in there. And then this is the other side of the sheet that I used, and I just backed it onto a file folder, stitched around it, and made it into a journaling card along with this right there. A little doily. Look at her paper, beautiful. I love the colors. Look at with the measuring tapes. Edith Holden, and you also get some of the tabs. Love that. This is some vintage onion skin paper. I love the feel of that. Some coffee dye line paper, and then you get these little envelopes, and they're so cute. I left them empty, so you can add your own thing in there. And I hinged it with lace. And then you got a bag here. And this is another sheet. Beautiful. Another one of her envelopes. Hand sewn, it says. Love it. Look at that image, how gorgeous. New models. This is her background pages. They are so beautiful. I love the colors. Some tracing papers. Love it. Some graph paper, and then you get these circles, and I just used a little brad that I have that looks like a little button, and I just attached them here. You know, you can do whatever you want. You could take them off and use them as a corner pocket, and of course I always send extra ephemera and stuff so you can play with it. But let me just swing them out so you can see them with the little yarn, and isn't that cute? Here I have a little glassine envelope, and I put a little applique, and you can use this to store more items in there. Little eyelet trim here, and this is another tag. Some food color dyed paper, and this is a little fabric tip-in. And I just attached some trim up there and some lace down here. Use one of her circles here, and that is empty here. You can add some other items in there. And then these are her pockets that you get in the kit. Beautiful. I love how it's in an angle. And then this is one of her tags. And I just added some trim up here with these little applique and backed onto coffee dyed paper. And that goes right in there. Some more trim there. Look at this one, looks like the zipper's opening. I love it. Some more tracing paper. And that's so cute, look at that. I used one of the circles and I added some eyelash trim. And then on this one, I just added some lace and stuff at the bottom, stitched around it. And these are puffy. I added some tracing paper and pattern paper inside to make it puffy. These are little fold outs that you get in the kit. Just stress them and put them there. Done is better than perfect. Look at that one with the little girl. Another bag. Here I have one of her Crafty Irina pockets, but I made them bigger. And then you get these little fold out. They look like little spools. They're beautiful. And this is open here, so you can actually add more stuff back there. And I have some little vintage rickrack running here. And another world trivia card here, and a little applique with a button doily, so that's fun. More onion skin paper. Here I have one of her pages that I just cut apart, and then this is from a book that I have, and it's all about thimbles. Like these thimbles are from the 19th century, and it tells you all about them. And I backed that onto cardstock. You can journal in the back of that. I have an altar Rolodex card here, and I just put some trim here. This is vintage. I think Aaliyah sent me this one. And a little applique. Oh, I'm not even showing you that. And a little applique there with the Rolodex. I wonder if you saw this, just in case. Edith Holden. This is the one for June. More with seam binding here. It's beautiful. Another doily. This is avocado dyed paper. I have another pocket here and more vintage fasteners here made of brass. Another little journaling card here. Some vintage music sheet. Here I use one of her circles here for a side tuck, and just did a little collage there at the bottom. Here I have another one of her journaling cards. They're so beautiful, aren't they? And then this is another cut apart, and it's the spool, and I just added some twine there and some eyelash trim and cheesecloth, and this folds down for extra journaling. And sew a needle pulling thread. Love that. And then these are some vintage buttons. Look at that, 23 cents. Another world trivia card and another button card. So that goes in there. So I added a lot of vintage ephemera in here. Look at how beautiful that is. So these are her collage sheets, and they're beautiful. This is open here. You can also add some stuff in there, but I didn't add anything else. This is a altered guest check, and I have a sari silk with a pin there backed onto that, and this is another one of her little cut aparts. Have a little doily here, and I took one of her circles, cut it in half, and stitched it onto this vintage trim here, and that goes right in there, and it holds it all together. And this is open here if you want to add more items in the back. Edith Holden. Look at that, so sweet. You're awesome. I love her pages. Doily. Another pocket here with more vintage buttons. These look like they're shell buttons. And this is another thimble, enamel thimble from the 19th century. It tells you all about it. So I'll put that in there with those buttons. And this is another rickrack wrapper that I use for extra journaling. Here I have a little envelope that I'm holding with a pin. One of these, and has nothing in it, but you can put a little message in there that you don't want nobody to see, and just keep it in there, pinned. Onion skin paper. Beautiful. And here is another spool little flip for extra journaling. It's beautiful. And then I have trim here with some little bling there, and this opens up. And this is some of my eco dye paper. Look at that leaf for extra journaling. A little bag in there. Another tab. I used here the pattern tissue paper, and added a button with some trim and some crochet trim backed onto cheesecloth, vintage rickrack, and it just opens up, and you can journal here and here. And this is, I use my Pellon, and you can journal here, you know, with a pen right onto that Pellon. And this is, I used it from the vintage tissue paper out of the pattern, you know, the pattern. Beautiful paper. Eat, Sleep, Craft. I love that. Handcrafted. So I love it because even you can take these and cut them and make little collages. Here is another one of her little envelopes, artfully handcrafted exclusively by. This little envelope. Have a little glassine bag here, and in the bag I have another set of thimbles. And this one is German thimbles. It tells you all about it, and I backed that onto cardstock. And then here is another one of her little fold outs. Puts a doily on one of her circles there with the little spools, and that goes back here. And then you have some vintage rickrack, and it's open here with a little glassine envelope. You can put something there, a little applique, some fun trim here with some bling. Oh, we got an itch. And look at that page, how beautiful. This is empty. Another pocket here, and in here I have more vintage buttons, and another one of her tags, and that one has some metal charm buttons dangling. And in her pocket I just have a crochet trim, and I used one of another one of her cut aparts. It's all fun and games until the bobbin runs out. It's cute. And then more vintage thimbles, their information. Isn't that cute? That paper is just beautiful. This collection is huge again, and it's beautiful. Here I use another one of her circles and put some eyelash trim, and here is another one of my book thimbles thing, and handmade with love. Beautiful. And this flips out, and you can store something in here in this envelope right there. Oh, I gotta glue that there. And then the flap serves as a tuck, and I have this one here. Another flip, fabric flip with some lace and trim. Housework only comes before sewing in the dictionary. And then another thimble thing, and another little journaling. Another little bag. And then collage paper and onion skin paper again. And this is a paper clip that I altered using one of her envelopes. It's empty, but you can certainly put something in there. Got some vintage. I think this one is a vintage button. Yeah, this one is a vintage button. These are not. Got glue. So that's cute. This goes in there. And here I have more vintage hook and eyes. And a card into this fabric pocket. Another circle with some, and this is vintage. This what I use for the tags, these are vintage seam bindings, and I added one of my postcards. These are not vintage. They're made to look vintage, but they're not. Another little card. Edith Holden. That is some fun fur down there. Another one of her spools. And the last signature. Have a little sewing machine there. Even this one, I love this background page. It's so beautiful. Very muted, but you can see the lines, and it's so pretty. More vintage button. Another one of her circles, and this is another envelope, and I just added some trim and some bling, and I just clipped it here with this clip. Another doily. How pretty. Another bag. Any day spent sewing is a good day, and I just made it into a little side pocket. Another world trivia and tiny little vintage buttons. And then I have these square buttons. That goes in there. This is a tuck, but I don't have anything in it. I'll probably put in here a fern letter. That's what I'll do. I'll put a fern letter in there. And then I have another circle with eyelash trim and another one of these little spool flips. They're so pretty. I love these. So some vintage onion skin paper, and I made a little clip here with some lace and an applique flower. And then you have this. This is so fun. And that goes in there. I'm just holding it with this paper clip. Isn't that pretty? Spoon cotton. This is more of that pattern paper that I backed with Pellon. This is another one of the things that I circles that I just use a brad. Edith Holden. Use another one here, but this one is a single one, and I just attached some vintage sheen binding there. And here I said So Happy, and I just have a little machine and a tape measure just dangling here. And on this side I have a little thing of yarn. And here I have another journaling card. Flip with one of her circles and a collage here with some rickrack and another envelope. Another one of her pockets with some crochet trim, and this says 1 yard, and I have some yarn here and a couple vintage buttons here, square buttons. This is another one of her envelopes, and I just have it held on with a paper clip. Has nothing in it, and it's being held with this little, and I think Alicia sent me these. Thank you, Alicia. Another one of her envelopes being held with some lace, another tab, and another one of these. And you can journal these, journal in the back of these and put them back. All you have to do is just, you know, pull them out. I love this paper. Thimble and a old pair of shears. I love that. Another glassine envelope with an applique. Some trim down here. This has another one of these flips and a card. And another one of these little flippy doodles. This one flips this way. As ye sow, so shall ye rip. I love that. Little postcard. This one says October. Avocado dye paper. And this is another Crafty Irina pocket. Applique and doily and trim. A World Trivia vintage card. So more of what makes you happy. Alteration and altered alterations tag. And got that in there. Trim, and then this one says September. And that goes right in there. December. These are cute. This is Superior Linen linen thread, 50 yards, what, 35 cents I think. And that is the back. And then here you have another tag and a world trivia card and another little tag with the machine. And then this opens and you have a couple of sheets in here for extra journaling. Look at that leaf. Can you see it? Oh, you can't even see that with that leaf. Love it. And that is the end of that, guys. Oof, long video. Alright, that is the end of that, and this is going to be listed in my Etsy. I hope you guys like it. It's a chunky monkey, and I will be back to show you some of the fabrics that I have in the shop. I did list 4 bundles of the fabric that I showed you that I found at the flea market, and yeah, I'll have the measurements of this in the description box, and not in the description box, in the listing in Etsy. Okay guys, and thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, guys. Bye.